In the serene and peaceful countryside of ancient India, nestled among rolling hills and flowing rivers, there lay a small village named Sarnath. The villagers of Sarnath lived simple lives, deeply connected to the earth and the seasons. They were known for their kindness and sense of community. However, in every community, there are always a few souls troubled by life's challenges. One such person was a man named Harish. Harish was a farmer who had faced many hardships. Droughts had withered his crops, and debts had mounted, casting a shadow over his spirit. His heart, once filled with joy and hope, was now consumed by anger and frustration. He had heard of the Buddha, a wise teacher who wandered from village to village, spreading messages of peace and enlightenment. However, Harish was skeptical. He could not believe that mere words could change the reality of his suffering. One day, news spread that the Buddha would be visiting Sarnath. The villagers were filled with excitement, preparing to welcome the revered teacher. Harish, however, was unmoved. He decided that he would go and see this Buddha for himself, not to seek solace, but to confront him. He wanted to challenge the notion that peace and wisdom could alleviate his burdens. As the Buddha arrived in Sarnath, a large crowd gathered around him, eager to hear his teachings. He spoke with a calm and gentle demeanor, his words like a soothing balm to the weary souls. Harish pushed his way through the crowd, his face red with anger. When he finally stood before the Buddha, he shouted, "You talk of peace and enlightenment, but what do you know of my suffering? What do you know of the hardships we face?" The crowd fell silent, shocked by Harish's outburst. But the Buddha remained serene. He looked at Harish with compassionate eyes and said, "My friend, tell me about your suffering." Harish began to pour out his grievances, his voice filled with bitterness. He spoke of his failed crops, his mounting debts, and the constant struggles that seemed to follow him like a dark cloud. The Buddha listened attentively, not interrupting once. When Harish had finished, there was a heavy silence. The villagers watched intently, waiting for the Buddha's response. Finally, the Buddha spoke. "Harish, anger and resentment are like holding onto hot coals with the intention of throwing them at someone else. In the end, it is you who gets burned. Your suffering is real, and I do not dismiss it. But consider this, when you hold on to your anger, you are adding to your burden. Would you not prefer to lighten your load?" Harish was taken aback by the Buddha's words. He had never thought of his anger in this way. The Buddha continued, "There was once a man who came to me, much like you, filled with anger. He insulted me and tried to provoke me, but I did not respond in anger. Instead, I asked him, if someone offers you a gift and you decline it, to whom does the gift belong? The man answered, it belongs to the one who offered it. I told him, in the same way, if you offer me anger and I decline to accept it, to whom does the anger belong?" The villagers murmured in agreement, understanding the wisdom in the Buddha's words. Harish stood silent, contemplating the lesson. The Buddha then said, "Harish, you cannot control the external circumstances of your life, but you can control your response to them. Choose to respond with patience and compassion rather than anger. In doing so, you will find that your heart becomes lighter and your mind clearer." Tears welled up in Harish's eyes as he realized the truth in the Buddha's teachings. He fell to his knees and bowed deeply. "Thank you, wise teacher. I have been blind to my own suffering, and I see now that my anger has only made it worse. I will strive to let go of my anger and find peace within." The Buddha smiled warmly and helped Harish to his feet. "Remember, my friend, the path to enlightenment begins with a single step. You have taken that step today. May you continue on this path with courage and compassion. The villagers, moved by the exchange, felt a renewed sense of hope and understanding. They realized that true peace and happiness came from within, and that by letting go of their anger and embracing compassion, they could transform their lives. From that day forward, Harish worked diligently to cultivate inner peace. He practiced mindfulness, and whenever anger threatened to rise within him, he remembered the Buddha's words. Slowly, his heart began to heal, and he found joy in the simple moments of life. The fields that had once seemed barren now held promise, and the debts that had seemed insurmountable became manageable. The village of Sarnath, too, changed. Inspired by Harish's transformation, the villagers supported one another more deeply, offering kindness and understanding in times of need. The Buddha's visit had left an indelible mark on their hearts, reminding them that even in the face of adversity, peace and enlightenment were within their reach. Namo Buddhi, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, share, and subscribe this video, because your one like is motivate us to make such content.